Buy and hold cost averaging.
Buy and hold.
Trading investing.
Investing.
Tech stocks, pharma stock.
Tech stock.
Jollibee Max.
Jollibee.
Love or money.
Love makes the world go around.
Cutlass hold.
Cut loss.
PE, PB.
I'm a PE girl.
Banking stocks, property stock.
Banking.
Long-term, short-term.
Long term.
Amazon, Google.
Google.
20-day MA, 50-day MA.
50-day.
PLDT, Globe, Dito.
Globe.
What will do worse? Airline stocks, oil stocks.
Airline will probably rebound better than the optimism has brought us to a certain extreme level in the market, and now we'll just have to kind of take profit if you're looking at a short term. So if you have a core position and a trading position, then you can take that trading position, take some profit to be able to maybe anticipate a probable decline or consolidation.
The market, as what we've been talking about for the longest time, dropped March 2020. Fast forward 7-8 months from after that, the market is not where it was before, but it's significantly up already. I want to segment this question first for people who are long-term investors and then their positions are up. And as someone who's been investing also for over a decade, up ka, long-term investor ka, there's a large temptation to sell. Should people who are making money right now and then they're long-term, is it okay for them to take profits, or should they actually just hold their core positions?
So my strategy is to have a core position and to have a trading position. So there's just a core position that is at the original cost. And then if you want to monitor the market in a more detailed pace, then you could have a trading position. So for me, the way I decide on investing in the market is, aside from the fundamentals and the technicals, I also look at my lifestyle, right? Do I have time to look at the market all the time? And will I make money from trading a position? Or do I want to maximize the opportunities just because I think that there's going to be a turn in the market, right? So I time it with how I see where we are in the larger scope of things. So if I think that we're entering the second wave of Elliott wave, then I'm looking at a very flat and boring phase, but also it's a tradable range. But we'll have to see how that range is formed, right? And if it's a worthwhile range to trade. And so that's where the trading position comes in. Would you like to participate in that? Or would you just like to observe first where if it falls below a certain support level that could threaten the gains already accrued, right? So to answer your question, a long-term investor, for me, as a long-term, I would say I'm a long-term investor, so I would maintain my core position. But if I do see a bigger turn happening, then I could trade that position.
They're up, they're long-term. Hold, better just hold on to that position as of this point in time.
Yes, because I think that we're still at that bottom of the market of another 10-year run.
What about people naman that are long-term investors also, but they're the opposite? They bought when the market was higher. They did not add when it was lower, so they're still down right now. What should be their game plan? So for those that are up, hold your positions. For those that are down, long term, what should they do naman? Or if you were in their position, I'm not even talking about trading, I'm just investing. What should they do?
This is a good time to really look at your portfolio and see what has changed in terms of financial viability and also growth moving forward. So a lot of things have changed during COVID, right? And there are companies that will probably benefit more and will probably be impacted more. And so if you have positions that are losing and will not provide that growth, then you should sell and shift to the ones that will give you that growth. But also, I would say I would take advantage of the high valuations to be able to take profit, and so that I could buy back in the case that the market when the market pulls back.
If your positions are down, you're long term. Companies that won't do so well still because of this new normal, it would be prudent to sell, then just transfer it to the ones that will perform better. Pero how about the ones naman that their positions are down, pero the company is earning still? They got hit lang for a bit, but moving forward, they'll do better.
Sure. I mean, you could maintain it at that. or you could try to trade it if you know how to trade the range, if in case that range happens, or you could buy more when the market pulls back. If you really believe in the fundamentals, if you think that the earnings will be there.
Got it. Okay, now I want to transition to trading naman. You talked bits and pieces about it already, but for those who are trading at this current level, at where we are right now, what should be your battle plan? Especially for those that might have got pieces of earnings already. What should they do?
And as I've always said, I always just go by very simple indicators, which is the RSI, the Fibonacci, and the MACD. And so these would easily be able to tell you if you're already at an overvalued level, or if you're at a neutral level, or if you're at an undervalued level wherein you have to buy. I would look at the whole picture, which is I think a bit frothy at the moment for what economy stats are showing us. And then I would wait to reposition because usually when I trade, I like to see a lot of value. So I really like seeing the RSIs and the MACDs at a really low level. And so I'd rather wait for that.
RSI, you have your 70 level. Everyone knows that when it's above the 70 level, it's overbought. So for you, what's your narrative in that? When it hits overbought levels, you start selling? Kasi I've seen RSI also na nag-overbought siya. Tagal niya, hindi naman siya bumababa ng 70 level eh. Or do you wait for it to actually cross down? What's your indicator when you start reading RSI in terms of you selling also?
For buying and selling, I always look at a convergence of indicators. So RSI is just one, but I always compare it to how I'm looking at. I always try to create this Elliott wave on each stock that I trade. I look at the MACD, and if there's a convergence if there's more convergence in the indicator whether to buy or sell, then that's what I follow. For example, there's RSIs that reach like just maximum limit, right? And these happen when they go parabolic. So what I do is I compare it to a previous high. I compare it to what sentiment is going on. I compare it to the headline that's happening. I compare it to MACD. I compare it also to the fact that, like, let's say there's no other, the volume is in that particular stock, right? So if you take all of those factors in and you think and you realize that the stock can still have more headway, then you continue on. Like then the rule of if it hits 70 or 80 does not apply at this particular point in time. But you also know that you're taking more risk because, especially in trading, you've got to be quicker in terms of the exit.
The exit for you will be you wait for a sell signal from RSI and then MACD to also go out. Kasi sometimes they don't really go hand in hand. Minsan nauuna yung RSI before you see any sell signals from the MACD as well.
I do it on a case per case basis, so it really depends, like how much return have I gotten from the capital that I invested, vis-a-vis how much more can I get?
Okay.
And how uncertain is it versus how certain is it? So if it's more uncertain and I already have my gains that I'm satisfied with, then I'll probably sell it because I wouldn't want to have to compete with the rest of the market trying to liquidate at levels that will thin out the volumes, obviously, right? There are also cases where you're making a good spread already, you really like the stock, but you also don't know when it's going to peak. And so there's a certain strategy where you can wait for it to peak, confirm that it's the peak, and then you sell. So that would assume that you already have a big spread to work with, and so you're happy to sacrifice a little bit just to make sure that you're actually selling the peak.
Before I go to my next question, where do you like selling more? Before it hits the resistance or after it hits the resistance?
If I were to recommend an action, I would be more prudent about it. I would assume that there is a target that I'm trying to hit and that there is a resistance that people will be looking at, and I would try to sell before that.
Got it.
But you could have different tranches for trading also, right? So you could take this risk with this tranche and this other risk with this tranche.
Tsaka based on how you were framing your sentences kanina, parang you don't want to hold on to it when the volume is thinning out. I think that's one of the styles of people who want to sell before the resistance gets hit also. I mentioned a while ago that we've gone up. Is this sustainable? Is this something that Kasi the problem is when you see things like this, there are a lot of people who would get excited, they would get optimistic also that minsan baliktad nga when the market is not doing so well, when the market is down, when there's a lot of fear, that's the time that you will have a larger amount of upside. But again, because there's uncertainty, there's a chance that pumasok ka ng mababa pero baka bumaba pa. Right now naman, we're at the opposite. We've seen it gone up. We've seen foreigners buy like crazy again. Not naman crazy, but we've seen large amounts and then volumes have been larger. Will this have legs?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to really answer the question, right, you'd have to look at the economics. You'd have to look at how we do contact tracing. Is there an increase in unemployment and all of these things, right? All those things are still really undetermined, and we'll have to monitor it and to really know if it has legs. But if you take a look at just a chart, right? If you pull out into a monthly chart and you look at where the PSEI value is based on the indicators, we definitely peaked in 2018, and we've hit like a really significant bottom in March. And if I take a look at where the economy could be after, let's say, studying what policies have been implemented, let's say over the course of this administration, for example, I think that where we are in this larger perspective is that we're still coming from the bottom of what could be a good run. But of course, how good that run will be, how fast the recovery will be, is still uncertain.
Part of all of this is also the resurgence of foreign buying. In your experience, being a stockbroker for over a decade, when you see them start buying and then markets go up, how prolonged do they do it, or they quickly pull the plug also, given certain items?
I always want to look at foreign transactions on a longer perspective. I don't go on it on a day or a week basis. It doesn't say much to me. What I like, I still revert to the valuation of the company, as opposed to looking at the value or volume. For me, I haven't been able to read it in that sense, I would say.
A couple of things also. One of the reasons why I believe the market is up above and beyond foreign buying, above and beyond the economy, bit by bit opening up, and above and beyond the Pfizer disclosure that the drug 90% works, is you mentioned it a while ago that the US election is over. At least there's a president-elect. And the thing about that is it removes uncertainty for an economy, the Philippines, and the stock market. How will Biden impact the Philippines as a whole?
I would say that based on what had occurred in the market during Trump's administration, and which was largely very conflicting with relations with China, I would say that it would bring more diplomacy, and it would have lesser impact, let's say, on the volatility, because we would be able to see better discourse, I think, when it comes to, let's say, trade agreements. So I think that it would usher in a more peaceful time in terms of trade relations. And so it should benefit the stock market better. Yeah. At the same time, the Senate is still Republican, right? And this is what they're worried about, that it would affect American business if Biden, as a Democrat, would have wins, right? And so I think there's in terms of their politics and in terms of us being affected by the U.S. market, since it's still the biggest economy, I think that there is a balance also that they were able to achieve in that sense.
One of the reasons why it went down, you mentioned it, was because of the trade war, and then partly, since we export a lot of electronics, you saw companies that have had a lot of connections with China, like Certec and IMI, get hit. Meaning that there's a softer stance to China. You believe that these electronic companies that would export to them will somehow be better also, and there could be a resurgence in the way they conduct their business as well?
I think it's an industry that is growing, and so despite relations, I think it could grow. It would just have to be a repositioning on their end, right? But there is currency fluctuations that have to be considered, right? But overall, I think the industry can grow. show more bias towards a positive outlook.
As we end the year, should people be more aggressive or conservative with their disposable money? Kasi a lot of people when the pandemic hit and then when we started to go into lockdown, they were more inclined to hoard cash. Now that at least we know what we're dealing with, we also know what the problem is, and then there are safeguards involved. As an investor, would you be more now on the offense, or would you be still parang wanting to be in cash?
There's a saying that you don't let a crisis go to waste. I think that what's going on today, there are really so many opportunities in and out of the market. And the opportunities could also pave the way for you to be able to provide solutions for people, the country, and the planet. And so my perspective is always growth at this point in my life, and also purpose. And so I would definitely go into, I mean, of course, do the right research and everything. But there is a lot of opportunity that I think people can look into in and out of the market to be able to grow their to grow their wealth more.
Thank you so much for that. No, and in another video, guys, I'll put the in my other channel, Marvin Germa Uncut. We will talk about her farming business also, and that's something very, very interesting. Thank you so much, Nisha Alicer, DA Market Securities, for sharing your insights and thoughts. I'll put the link in the description if you want to know more about what they do as well, and if you want to get in touch with her too. But before I let you go, fast talk. 2 options, pick one, no right or wrong. Are you ready?
Okay.
Okay, buy and hold cost averaging.
Buy and hold.
Trading, investing.
Investing.
10 million US dollars from sustainable development, or 1 billion US dollars but destroys the planet.
Sustainable investment for sure.
Okay, tech stocks, pharma stock.
Tech stock.
Jollibee Max.
Jollibee.
Love or money.
Love makes the world go around.
Cutlass hold.
Cut loss.
Win one time big time, or win small but repeatedly.
Repeatedly.
Fitness, finance.
Fitness covers everything.
PE, PB.
I'm a PE girl.
Banking stocks, property stock.
Banking.
Long term, short term.
Long term.
Amazon, Google.
Google.
20-day MA, 50-day MA.
50 days.
PLDT, Globe, Dito.
Globe.
What will do worse? Airline stocks, oil stocks.
Airline will probably rebound better than
Meralco, Aboitiz.
Aboitiz.
CNPF, Pure Foods.
CNPF.
Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Thank you so much, Nisha, is here for being game and answering the question. So I hope you guys got a lot from this. If you guys have more questions, just put it in the comment section. And then if you want Nisha to be back, just say, I want Nisha to be back. Then we'll try to invite her for more videos. And I hope you guys got a lot from this. No? And please do note that whatever gets discussed here, gets analyzed here, please research. Have your own due diligence also, because what's very, very important is it's your money, it's your responsibility, that whatever happens, you need to know what you're getting into. So that's it for now. Thank you so much. Nisha is here, and I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.